I would like to talk to you today on the topic women in Malaysia are discriminated against in the workplace. Many of us would be surprised that a woman worker standing 12 hours a day in a freezing clean room in an electronics assembly plant in Malaysia is being discriminated against because she's a woman. A nurse in a Malaysian hospital is also being discriminated against because she is a woman. You probably think that these are totally baseless allegations. Today, I want to bring before you arguments, facts, figures, and concepts that I think makes it very clear that women are being discriminated against in the workplace because of their gender. Let me begin by citing some legal cases that prove my point. On 8 March 2019, the United States women's national soccer team marked International Women's Day by filing a class action suit against their employer, the United States Soccer Federation, alleging pay and employment condition differences. In spite of the country's Equal Pay Act of 1963, the women's team would receive only $99,000, while the men's team would be paid $263,320 for the 20 games each team would have played and win in 1 year. What a marked difference in the pay rate. The world of professional sport slowly recognized that pay discrimination in women's sport is a labor issue. However, similar discrimination persists all over the world, including rich countries that have legislation on equal pay. Women in the countries that are members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, earned 13.8% less than men in 2018, which was a small improvement from 15% from 10 years before. The United Nations' most recent global statistics place women's wages at 23% less than men. The US women's national soccer team sued the US Soccer Federation for engaging in institutionalized gender discrimination, and the discrimination has caused, contributed to, and perpetuated gender-based pay disparities. The US Soccer Federation claims that the women's teams do not deserve to receive wages equal to the men's team because the team's work isn't equal. One of the defense arguments was that the overall soccer playing ability required to compete at the senior men's national level is materially influenced by the level of certain attributes such as speed and strength required for the job. In other words, they are saying that the men's team have more responsibility. In the meantime, the women's team went on to win their 4th world title in 2018, which was the most watched tournament in FIFA history, with more than 1 billion viewers from across the globe. The argument of the suing team is based on a principle called equal remuneration for work of equal value. This concept is not well known in Malaysia and in many underdeveloped countries, even in a country like India, which is well known for many radical judgments on human rights claims. In Malaysian law, the concept of work of equal value is not clearly articulated. Malaysian law still continues to take the position that there must be equal pay for equal work. This can be understood that two workers on a production line in a factory must be paid the same wages whether they are men or women. The male cutter in a garment factory must be paid the same as a female cutter in that factory. In Malaysia, there is no understanding that equal pay for equal work is not the same as equal pay for work of equal value. Made about rubber tappers, who are mainly women, and oil palm fruit harvesters, who are mainly men. The rubber tappers require great skill, while the harvester requires great strength. But the plantation industry holds that the harvester works harder than the rubber tapper, and thus they pay the harvester more than they pay the feminized rubber tapping sector. However, the CEDAW committee held that these two jobs were of equal value, so they require equal remuneration. Work of equal value requires comparison criteria such as not only content of work, but also the level of skills, effort, responsibility, and working conditions. Secondly, I ask for your consideration for the way in which work has developed over the years all over the world, where work and remuneration is associated with gender. It is a fact that there are jobs that are feminized. These feminized jobs tend to be at the bottom rung of the pay ladder, even in the same industry. A classical example would be the sweatshop where clothes are produced. The highest paid workers are the male cutters, and the rest are female sewers who are paid much lower salaries. Today, in an industry that has received so much attention, the rubber glove production, imagine if in those factories, the migrant men who are currently employed there are all sent back. Who do you think will work there? Malaysian men or Malaysian women? If wage rates remain more or less at the minimum wage, I bet that it would be Malaysian women. In fact, that was what happened before the industry resorted to hiring huge numbers of migrant workers. Thirdly, I would say discrimination happens in all kinds of care work, which again is often associated with women's work. These include work such as nursing, domestic work, and cleaning. Contrast this with jobs like driving a forklift or a crane or driving a heavy vehicle. The picture you get is that these are men's jobs. Generally, these are paid more than caregiving. In Malaysia, you do not even have to pay for care work in the family because the women in the family do it without wages. This stereotyping of work as being male or female leads to discrimination in the workplace. Is it then any wonder that the female labor force participation in Malaysia is very low, just hovering above the 50% level? If a woman earns the minimum wage or less than that, and she needs to get childcare for her children, is it any wonder that that woman just stays at home and does all the care work for the family? It is only when she is if she is the sole breadwinner for the family, that she goes to work and leaves the children at home to mind themselves. This is a sad situation of families in the bottom 40%, otherwise known as the B40 income earners in Malaysia. This is why Children in these families are undernourished and poor achievers in school. Malaysian society has not even come up with affordable childcare in the communities or in the workplaces so that poor women can get decent work. There is still no political will because this is a problem about women and work. The employers just want cheap labor and convince the government that he needs to recruit migrant labor not because he wants cheap labor, but because Malaysians are too lazy to do these 3D jobs. Don't mind the fact that these so-called lazy Malaysians cross over to Singapore every day in hordes to do exactly these 3D jobs. Now tell me, women are not discriminated against in the workplace? Thank you.